SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
At Community Bank, we're more than a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors and trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've helped families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. We're dedicated to your success every step of the way. Community Bank, member FDIC.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
Good morning. Wednesday morning, the 26th of November. We are almost to the end of the month of November. We are almost to Thanksgiving. We are almost to the Egg Bowl. Almost to feeling like if you don't have your Christmas tree put up yet and you don't have a wreath on your front door, you're behind and you've got so much to do. We're almost to Friday. Thanks for being with us this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Streaming online at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV on your SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. The SuperTalk app, it's free. Lots and lots of you listen that way on the go. However you listen, wherever you listen, why ever you listen, we just say thank you. We appreciate you being with us. We appreciate you joining the conversation on the C Spire text line. The number 601-879-4395. If you have not yet saved that number in your phone, I might ask why not, but just do it. 601-879-4395. You can save it under C Spire text line. You can save it under SuperTalk, text line, chat, that idiot on the radio. A lot of different ways you could save it, whatever works for you. But it makes it easy when you've got a thought and you want to join the conversation. You can do it that way on the C Spire text line. Tom in Jackson says, have a good Thanksgiving, guys. To you as well, Tom. Wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And we welcome you this morning to Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Lance Tolbert, good morning to you, my friend.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy pre-Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Man,
we're there.
Little nip in the air this morning when you walked outside. I told you it was coming, and it's finally here, I think.
I think so. The rain didn't hurt here. We had plenty of it, and it is definitely a little cooler this morning. So it's not as cool as it is up there, though. It's still, 50s. Not too bad, but I can tell you one thing. A lot of people are taking today off because that was the easiest drive to work I have ever had. So thank y'all. That was nice.
Traffic may get a little heavier, but it's going to be people headed over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house.
Yeah. They're not getting up and going to work today, and I don't blame them, guys. Tune in to Super Talk. We got everything you need.
Yeah. Some of you will on a day off, and some of you will be like, I'll catch you guys on Monday. I'm not in the, 47 where I sit this morning. Let's check that forecast across the state of Mississippi. Senatobia, mainly sunny for you, high of 53 today. Winds out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. There's your difference. That's the difference in 53 is obviously cooler than the 70 that it has been. But that little 5 to 10 out of the south versus 10 to 15 out of the north, that's a different deal. That's what you've got today in Senatobia. Starkville, mainly sunny for you today, high of 56. For you also, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds out of the north and northwest. Also, your Egg Bowl forecast for Starkville, 11 a.m. kickoff. Friday morning, ABC. Intervals of clouds and sunshine in the morning. More clouds later in the day. 52 degrees for the high. Wind not really a factor, just light a little breezy from time to time. It's a pretty good Egg Bowl forecast. Pretty good. Vicksburg today, you're going to top out at 59 degrees. Going to be mainly sunny with winds out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And Biloxi, for you, intervals of clouds and some sunshine, 71 degrees with the north wind as well. Going to be gorgeous. Going to be absolutely gorgeous. Charles Schulz was born this day in 1922. He was a cartoonist, the creator of Peanuts, Snoopy, and Charlie Brown. Snoopy was part of Peanut. I'm assuming Snoopy started out, or maybe just saying Snoopy and Charlie Brown are characters in Peanuts. I guess that's what it was. Although Snoopy kind of turned into a standalone cartoon along the way. Charlie Brown, Chuck. The Peanuts Thanksgiving special was always pretty good.
Oh, yeah, the Halloween one was always excellent as well.
Yeah. Hard to like Lucy.
I like Peppermint Patty, you know. Just the name. I mean, anybody named Peppermint Patty, you got to like that.
Linus with his blanket.
Yeah, he was. What was the Pigpen? The one that had a little cloud
Pigpen.
over him. That was kind of my favorite guy. I was like, this guy. Yeah. He just doesn't
Take
care.
a bath.
He just doesn't care.
I'll take a bath, you bum. Tina Turner was born on this day in 1939. The legendary singer known for hits like Proud Mary and What's Love Got to Do with It?
River Deep Mountain High is the best, though.
Is it?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's just
Okay.
you can feel you can feel what she's trying
soul?
to get you to feel in it, right? Which is pain and love and everything wrapped into one.
Yeah.
Her voice, her and Whitney, I don't know if anyone could command a voice like either of them could.
I know you always have your plan. We might have to dial up a little Tina this morning.
I got two of them always ready.
Oh, that a boy.
Yeah.
That a boy. Oh, Ike. Let's just celebrate Tina today. We don't have to talk about Ike. Dale Jarrett, 69 years old today, born in 1956, the American auto racer. Won the Daytona 500 in 1993, again in 96, then again in 2000. He was the Winston Cup Series winner in 1999, went on to be a broadcaster with ESPN, with ABC, and with NBC, born in Conover, North Carolina. You were talking yesterday about Joe Gibbs. See Dale Jarrett now. A lot of those guys that have been NASCAR legends, their roots are in the state of North Carolina. Going way, way back with the stock car racing. DJ Khaled is 50 years old today, 1975 is when he was born. American DJ, record producer, and rapper. Where I saw his birthday, they listed a couple of his big songs as I'm the One and Higher, and I was like, I think you're missing one here. All I Do Is Win. DJ Khaled, born in New Orleans. In 1778, British explorer Captain James Cook is the first European to visit Maui in the Sandwich Islands, what is, of course, now Hawaii. How beautiful must that have been in 1778?
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was saying while they were eating sandwiches, sitting there having a big time.
Just taking a lunch break.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that?
There it is.
It appears to be Maui. Wonder what the route was.
Circuitous.
Yeah.
You got the guy, John Montague, he wasn't even around, and he was the one they named it after, the Earl of Sandwich, the fourth Earl of Sandwich. You got to think about that. I mean, like, how do you become the Earl of Sandwich? I mean, that's just an odd name to me. I've always wondered, it's like, was there like a...
Well, Sandwich was a place,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's my point. Like, where did the sandwich come from? I guess there, maybe. They had like a great sandwich joint there, and
I think we should take 2 pieces of bread.
I mean, I don't know. It's always gotten me. That one has.
Has anyone have any ham?
Yeah.
Perhaps a turkey.
Bring the pig.
Peanut butter.
And banana. Elvis is going to
honey.
like this. Elvis is going to love this.
First United States cabinet meeting happened in 1791. And it was held at George Washington's home in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well, looking back from a historical standpoint, the attendees, George Washington, Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of War Henry Knox, and Attorney General Edmund Randolph.
And there was no security.
Probably nobody knew who they were.
That's my point. There was just
I know. I mean, they knew who each other were and fought with each other a lot. Can't help but wonder what the discussion was like in the first presidential U.S. cabinet meeting. Take a time out. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi, just getting started. Look at more of what has happened on this day in history and also peek ahead to some news headlines coming up next on MRC.
From the event.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
You got it locked in. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us, for spending part of the start of your Wednesday morning with us, this 26th day of November, the eve of Thanksgiving. In 1922, English archaeologist Howard Carter opened up the nearly intact tomb in Egypt of, you want to say it?
Tutankhamun.
Tutankhamun. It's like I needed to hear somebody say that.
I have a ramen.
I was going to mispronounce it.
Yeah, the ramen place I like to go. I don't know what they call the ramen. It's a really long name. I call it the Tutankhamun ramen, and they always know what I want. So it's like a name, something like that. I'm like, give me that Tutankhamun ramen. And like,
You go there a lot, don't
yeah,
you?
Yeah, that's my spot.
King Tut's, who we're talking about, in November of 1923, a team led by British archaeologist and Egyptologist Howard Carter discovered the tomb of the Egyptian boy king Tutankhamun. This would go on to become the most famous discovery of a pharaoh's tomb and make Tutankhamun perhaps the most famous pharaoh. After chipping his way into the tomb earlier in the month, using a chisel his grandmother had given him on his 17th birthday, Carter and his sponsor, Lord Carnarvon, spent the next several months meticulously cataloging the items inside the tomb's antechamber. And then later in the year, on February 16th, Carter discovered that the antechamber did in fact lead to Tutankhamun's burial chamber, where he opened the sealed doorway inside and glimpsed the sarcophagus of the pharaoh. Now, over the years, many legends have emerged around the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, most famously the so-called Curse of the Pharaohs. That those who disturbed the tomb were doomed to an early death. Among those who died not long after the discovery was the financial backer of the project, Lord Carnarvon. He died in April of that year, so just a couple of months later. A.C. Mace, a member of the excavation team, died 5 years later. Archibald Douglas Ross, a radiologist who x-rayed Tutankhamun's mummy, died in 1924. And even Howard Carter himself, the young archaeologist, died in 1939.
It's crazy. The reality that the curse actually exists, and it has followed people that were there. Not nearly as important, the finding of Tutankhamun's burial chamber, but the Geraldo Rivera hosted, the Al Capone's vault.
Yeah.
That was a beauty. Now, I wonder if you'd have had TV back in the old Carter days, that'd have probably gotten a few more a few more watchers than the. Mm-hmm. But I was a kid when Geraldo opened that.
Oh, I remember it.
Oh, my God. That was such a nothing burger.
And it appears as if there is nothing inside the tomb.
Yeah.
Today in 1942, Casablanca, directed by Michael Curtiz and starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, premiered at Hollywood Theater in New York City. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture the following year, 1943.
Have you ever watched many Humphrey Bogart movies?
No.
The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca are really good movies.
Yeah.
So they're worth watching if you have a little time off. The Casablanca one, though, is really cool. It just has it's World War II stuff, like it's really unique in the setting. And Humphrey is just like, I never got into him because of the way people talked back then. Like, hey, how you doing? My pants is high and all this. And yes, hey, man, what's going on? There was just never a break in the dialogue in those movies, but both of those are masterpieces, Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon.
I'll have to check those out. You know what I got to do, though? It's like, if I ever get time off, it's like, I don't want to sit inside. I want to go do something. I want to go. You need that, like, perfect rainy day with nothing going on. And you're like, what am I going to do? I think today I'll watch Casablanca. Need to put that on the to-do list.
It's a good one, yeah.
1948, the first Polaroid camera, the Land camera, Model 95, sold for $89.75 in Boston at the Jordan Marsh department store. It became the prototype for all Polaroid Land cameras for the next 15 years. Instant photography.
I needed a crane to move it around there out of the gate, but they got a lot better with that, man.
They did.
I love the old Polaroids that you would take the picture and it would pop out of the camera and you have to wiggle it around and blow on it, and then there was your picture.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture. And then you could grab a Sharpie and you could write on that bottom edge and not mess the picture up. Pete Rose named National League Rookie of the Year on this day in 1963. And we'll wrap it up in 1995. Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan the Man Marino set the NFL record with his 343rd career passing touchdown. That dude could sling it.
Great hair, too.
Yeah. Knees that held on for dear life at the end. They kind of held on.
What were those pants that back in the 80s, late 80s, they were like surfer pants, and they were real baggy and all kind of colors, and he was the spokesperson.
Sansa belts?
No. These were like surfing breeches, like beachwear stuff, and he was the spokesperson for them, and they became very popular. They were like weightlifting and kind of, I can't remember the name, but they were goofy looking. They were almost like MC Hammer pants, but had a lot of color to them. But he was the guy that was the spokesperson. I always used to love seeing those commercials.
And for Isotoner gloves.
Oh, Isotone. Well. He had the best NIL deal ever, man. The guy was pre-gaming it. He knew what was going on.
Yeah. Mississippi Highway Patrol and the Department of Public Safety wants you to buckle up as you travel this holiday season. The Thanksgiving travel period officially begins tonight, this evening at 5 o'clock, and it's going to run through midnight on Sunday. Troopers will be out in force to promote safety and safe travel by organizing high-visibility patrols. Get you to slow down, pay attention, have a few checkpoints along the way to enforce seatbelt laws and remove impaired drivers from the road. All right, let's see if I can summarize there. Slow down. Don't text and drive. Put on your seatbelt, and don't drink and drive. Their words are far more formal, but that's what they're getting at. Slow down, pay attention, don't text and drive, don't drink and drive, and wear your seatbelt. You do that, get a great chance for a safe and a happy holiday on the road. Last year, during the Thanksgiving travel period, troopers investigated 187 crashes, resulting in 2 fatalities, and made 80 DUI arrests on state and federal highways in Mississippi. So, man, you want to talk about turning a great weekend into a family tragedy? There it is. Be careful on the roads. 2 are presumed dead after a plane that originated in Gulfport is believed to have crashed in Lake Pontchartrain. U.S. Coast Guard is searching, leaving a flight instructor and a student presumed dead. Michael Carrastro, the owner of the plane, confirmed to WLOX television that the small carrier had departed Millionaire in Gulfport on Monday night before later crashing. The plane was en route to Lakefront Airport in New Orleans. Registered to Apollo Flight Training and Aircraft Management, an aviation training school on the coast. The identities of those on the aircraft have not yet been released. It was a Cessna 172, reportedly lost radio contact with officials when it was roughly 4 miles offshore. Monday night, officials with Louisiana's Wildlife and Fisheries Department found what appeared to be a seat cushion from the plane. Coast Guard has deployed a helicopter and a boat from its New Orleans outlet to aid in the search. The Cajun Navy has also launched teams from its Baton Rouge warehouse to join the search for the plane and the occupants. So sad. 1 week from yesterday, 6 days from right now, runoff elections happening in Mississippi. We'll give you the who, what, when, where, and why when we come back. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Also, your morning sports update on the other side of this timeout. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning.
From the Seabrook.
Good morning, everybody. Time to wake up.
Time to shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Well, I'm standing all alone by the river of my home, thinking about the days I've left behind. All the years I rolled, not a nickel can I show, and the river helps to ease my worried mind.
Zubaz pants.
Those things were sweet, man. I wanted a pair. My dad wouldn't let me have any. So you're not getting those.
You know what, Lance? You are at a point in your life where you no longer have to have your father's permission, and I have good news for you.
Yeah, they're available.
They still sell those bad boys, and I think you should get some.
I want a pair, man, especially the ones that Marino was wearing in one of those images I sent where he's standing in front of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Lance, I needed a Christmas present idea for you, and I feel like I might have just discovered. Do you have a color preference?
Oh, I want it as wild as it can be. You know? If you're going to wear them, let everybody know you got them on.
Royal blue and orange, purple and gold.
Yeah, everything. Yeah,
red and white.
All of it in there. They got
purple and white. I mean, it feels like these are made. What's the deal? It's like they're made specifically for LSU fans and Florida fans.
I think so.
Oh, there's your Ole Miss version, navy and red.
I can go with navy and red.
Auburn and navy
powder.
and orange.
Yeah, powder would be better.
Oh, we've got navy blue and light blue.
Ooh, sweet.
That
combo.
may be the combo.
Yeah. Yeah, those things look sweet, man. Like I said, I've wanted a pair since
There's
the 80s.
a maroon and white.
I did have the parachute pants. I had a couple good pair of those. But, yeah, you could get those at Jackson Mall, back then. But you couldn't get Zubaz at Jackson Mall. Didn't have an order online. I don't know where you could get those things back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 80s, it was like 88, I think, 89.
You didn't just jump on Amazon and order a pair?
No, yeah. You had to dial up, and on a satellite, somebody next door had the thing that was as big as a camper.
Yeah. You think you're an extra large?
Oh, yeah, probably. Okay. Wash and dry them enough until, you never know. They're probably made out of, like, polyester. But
yeah.
They look comfy.
I don't know if you plan for shrinkage in those or not.
A little loose.
And if
they're supposed to be loose.
The good news is if they shrink, you just cut them off, and now you got some great shorts.
Exactly. They make the short brand. But, yeah, those are the type that you want them loose. You don't want those skinny jeans.
That's right.
Yeah, they're supposed to be fluffy.
Consumer confidence sliding as Americans grow wary of costs. U.S. consumers much less confident in the economy in this month of November in the aftermath of the government shutdown. Weak hiring and stubborn inflation. The conference board said earlier this week that its confidence index dropped to 88.7 in November from an upwardly revised October reading of 95.5. That's going from a solid A to just an okay B. The 88.7 for November is the lowest reading since April, when Donald Trump announced tariffs. Figures suggest that Americans are increasingly wary of high cost and sluggish job gains, with perceptions of the labor market worsening. Declining confidence could pose political problems for Trump and Republicans in Congress, as the dimmer views of the economy were seen among all political affiliations and were particularly sharp among independents. I feel comfortable saying right now, there's a whole lot that can change. We are a full year, not quite a full year, from the midterms. But the momentum with which this Trump administration exploded out of the gate has largely been lost. The kind of fumbling, bumbling, stumbling of the Epstein case, not even case, just the issue. It's almost like the American people want someone they elect to do what they say they are going to do. Now, hold on a second. Donald Trump has done a lot of what he said he was going to do. I can't remember how many times we have said, why are you surprised by this? Donald Trump told you during the election this is exactly what he is going to do. And he's doing it. My question, and even if you vote for somebody, you're not going to like everything that they do. And so I'm left with two questions. One, do you recognize the roadblocks, if not all-out blockades, that have existed against so many of the orders that Donald Trump has put in place? Like, he's accomplished a lot. He's made Democrats furious along the way. But how much more would he have accomplished through executive order, whether you agree with that or not, if not for these judges that have constantly put injunctions in place and made him slow down and made his people slow down and had rulings against him? That's number one. Number two, the other question, if indeed it feels like in 11 and a half months, it might not be a good day for Republicans. Do you remember what it was like with Democrats in charge? It was more expensive than it is today. And if Kamala Harris had won and Democrats had control in Congress, it would be more expensive because their policies lead to things costing more. Our situation at the border would not be what it is. And will Democrats regress to their open border policies if they regain control? That's actually something I don't want to know the answer to, but I will be intrigued to know the answer to, because there's no doubt the strategy for Democrats, at least in part, without being said out loud for the most part, was flood the nation with illegals because they will vote for us. Overwhelm the voting system so that Republicans simply cannot win because of the numbers. But the safety issue was real. The violent criminal issue was real. The unchecked immigration issues with Democrats in charge was a massive national security risk. And the Trump administration stopped it in the blink of an eye. If Democrats retake control, will they go back to open borders? Anyway, just something to think about as we look at some negative numbers and ponder the idea that feels like Trump's losing some momentum. Whether that's perception or reality may not matter. All right. We have your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, home of the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. DancingRabbitGolf.com to book your tee time for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. Check out Pearl River Resort. Last night, the new college football playoff rankings came out. And the buffoon that is Hunter Yurachek, the director of athletics at Arkansas and committee chair, once again engaged in some buffoonery. He's pretty good at that. It's kind of how he rolls. No change at the top. Ohio State number 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Georgia 4. Then you've got Texas Tech at number 5. Your first change comes at number 6, where Oregon moved up a spot because in an open date, while sitting at 10-1, Ole Miss played really poorly, apparently. Their 10-1 record that was good enough to have them at 6 a week ago was not good enough to have them at 6 this week without a loss. And so they dropped a spot to number 7. Oregon's win over Southern Cal was good. It was impressive. But to hear Hunter Yurachek talk about that win as if they had beaten the 85 Bears was fascinating last night. Said, we've been waiting for that one signature win so that we could rank Oregon where we think they belong. That was what he said. Those were his words. Compare the resumes side by side and make it make sense. You can't. You cannot. So will a win for Ole Miss over Mississippi State on Friday be enough to catapult the Rebels back over Oregon? An 11-1 team with the SEC, from the SEC with 2 wins over playoff projected teams? Find that on Oregon's resume. I challenge you. It's an impossible challenge because you can't. Oklahoma at number 8. Man, they love Oklahoma. By far the best win on Ole Miss's resume. Notre Dame is number 9. Alabama 10. BYU 11. Miami 12, then Utah, then Vanderbilt, then Michigan. And you can pretty much draw a line right there. You might include Texas at 16. Those are the teams that have got a shot at the 12 spots. Those are the teams. Plus, Tulane at 24 has got a shot. We'll look at what the bracket would look like if you played the playoff with these rankings. Get some other sports updates, sports headlines for you, and give you your Mississippi lottery update. All of that coming up on the other side of this break. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
From the Venable.
Start your day right.
Good morning, America. How are you?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mississippi Lottery update for you, brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. Today is Wednesday, November 26th. That means tonight you have a chance to win. Man, you think it'd make the turkey taste better tomorrow if you woke up with $681 million to your name? That's the estimated jackpot for tonight's Powerball drawing. Suppose it would be more like 160 or 70 million. The estimated cash value, $315,700,000. I get that it's more fun to say the big number, but you got to know what you're working with. And what you're working with there is a lot of money if you win. You can get your tickets at your local lottery retailers all across the state of Mississippi. The Mississippi Lottery offices, for your information, will be closed Thanksgiving Day and Friday as well in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. But don't forget, you can still grab your Powerball tickets, that big jackpot tonight. A Hermanville man won $7,700 on a pair of tickets from Flora Shell on a Cash 4 scratch-off. A Brandon man won $25,000 on a ticket from Murphy Oil and Flowwood. That was on a $25,000 Mad Money winner. It's a nice pop there. $10 Spectacular Riches, a Columbus, Georgia man passing through. Won $25,000 on a ticket from Shop and Go in Columbus. We appreciate your contribution to our economy, good sir. Bunch of folks won $5,000 on $20 scratch-offs, full of 5,000s. You can get your tickets, scratch-off, Powerball, Mega Millions, all at your local lottery retailers. That's update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. If you played the playoff right now, which we don't, I'm well aware, but if you did, the top four seeds would be Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Georgia. From two conferences. Likely, the quarterfinals would have the winner of Tulane, Texas Tech, playing Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame, Oklahoma's winner, playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. The winner of Miami and Oregon would likely take on Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl. And the winner of Ole Miss hosting Alabama would head to Miami to the Orange Bowl to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Man, it's just interesting when you look at the work of this committee in particular. Other committees as well, but this one in particular. You have a lack of leadership. The previous committee chairman had to step down because he was in the process of getting fired from his job as athletics director at Baylor. That was Mack Rhodes. So he had to step down. They got an opening. They've already had a couple of other board members that have stepped down. And they put Hunter Yurachek in charge, who Arkansas fans cannot stand because they believe that he has run their football program into the ground. And so you are asking someone to lead a committee that is going to determine the 12 teams playing for a national championship in football while simultaneously running a coaching search to get somebody to lead his football program. And then last night, he goes on national television right after they announce the field, and he wants to be funny. Lance, did you see this? Have you seen this clip yet?
No.
All right, here you go. Reese Davis from ESPN interviewing Hunter Yurachek, chair of the College Football Playoff Committee.
We're joined by The chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, Hunter Yurachek. Hunter, not a lot of changes. You had to go all the way down to number 15 last week to find a team that lost when SC lost to Oregon. But there was a change at 6-7 with Oregon and Ole Miss swapping spots. How much of an impact potentially could it be on Ole Miss if it's determined they don't have their head coach in the field?
6-7. But seriously, Rich.
I mean, I'm not even going to play anymore after that for you. Like, I don't care about anything else that came out of his mouth. You know what makes people funny? It's not just the words that come out of their mouth, it's timing. Comedic timing, Lance, that's a thing, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You got the chair of the playoff committee up there juggling his hands. 6-7. You know who thought it was great? My 8-year-old. You know who didn't? The people who are fighting for their football lives to be part of this 12-team playoff. You know who else didn't think it was funny? Arkansas, with the embarrassment of that guy being their athletics director. What a clown. All right, 7 o'clock hour on the way. We've got more with you coming up next.
White socks and blue ribbon beer.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Good morning. Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Seven o'clock hour. Good morning. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us, for spending part of your Wednesday morning with us, the 26th of November. The C Spire text line is open to you. 601-879-4395. Don't wait for Black Friday. Don't wait for Cyber Monday. Save right now. Great deals online at cspire.com. Their Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals are ready to go. Deals like $1,000 off with trade-in on a new iPhone, plus a free Apple Watch SE. Or for Samsung fans, you can get the new Galaxy S25 for free today. No trade-in needed. Learn more online at cspire.com. cspire, customer inspired. 7 o'clock hour of this show every single day is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you've got trouble or you're struggling with HR, with benefits, with payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Call them today, 601-206-7966, or visit online mwgemployerservices.com. About 12 minutes from right now, Jamie Miller will join us. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Gulf Coast Business Council. There's a lot that's happening on the Gulf Coast, and things got a little interesting yesterday. The Advisory Council for the Gulf Coast Business Council submitted their recommendations on which grant applications should receive funding from the BP money that's part of the Gulf Coast settlement. MDA took the advice from the advisory committee, talked in great detail with the governor about that, and dropped its recommendation to the lieutenant governor and to the state legislature. And to say that the Gulf Coast Business Council and MDA's recommendations were not the same would be an understatement. We're going to get into that with Jamie Miller coming up this morning. And I'm really, really interested to hear what Jamie's got to say and his reaction to the news of what MDA passed along to the legislature. what that might look like, what those negotiations might look like going forward, what it means for industry, what it means for possibly having the 3 counties on the coast come together and work together in conjunction for the betterment of the entire coast as opposed to just the individual counties. We'll get into all that with Jamie coming up in just a little while. Captain Criss Turnipseed from the Mississippi Highway Patrol will join us at 8:06 this morning. And Audri Johnson scheduled to visit with us later in the 8 o'clock hour, a Grammy nominee from right here in Mississippi. I got a little long-winded a little while ago in our news headlines, and so I do feel like I do need to pass a couple of things along to you. Ole Miss took its first loss in basketball last night out in Palm Desert, California. They played Iowa and lost 74-69. The scoring leader for Ole Miss last night was A.J. Storr, wasn't it? 22 points for Storr in 31 minutes. Ole Miss shot 47% from the field, 85% from the free throw line, but they turned it over 13 times. Iowa did not have a single turnover in the second half. They got 29 points out of Bennett Sturts, including 6 of 8 from 3, and they got the win. A good game. Pretty good Iowa basketball team. And Ole Miss did, I'm assuming Chris Beard was not terribly pleased with the way that game went. And finally, Ole Miss offensive lineman Patrick Kudus has been named the 2025 recipient of the Kent Hull Trophy for the best lineman in the state of Mississippi. It's been a while since you've had an Ole Miss offensive or defensive lineman win that award. Seen a bunch of Mississippi State guys with that. And oh, by the way, we're 52 hours from kickoff of the Egg Bowl. But who's counting, Lance? Who's counting?
Oh, yeah. No, nobody.
52. It's going to be good. It's going to be a great scene. Great scene. Well, we got a good old Republicans can't agree with each other thing going right now. In other news, sun came up this morning. A health care proposal and by the way, I'm not saying it's wrong that there are disagreements among Republicans, especially on this issue. It'd be nice if it wasn't on every issue, but it seems to be. Healthcare proposal circulated by the White House in recent days is running into the reality of Republican division. Familiar struggle for a party that has been trying to scrap or overhaul the Affordable Care Act for the past 15 years. And I think that sentence right there sums up the problem with Obamacare. The problem with the Affordable Care Act, but maybe more than anything, the problem with the healthcare system in these United States of America. For a decade and a half, Republicans have hated Obamacare. Not a good system. Not what it claimed to be. Too expensive. The exchange is clunky. The web presence is awful. The plans aren't good. The deductibles are too high. It costs taxpaying Americans too much money. I'm sure there are other complaints. That was just off the top of the head. In light of all those complaints, Republicans have come up with a grand total of 0 ideas to replace it. At least in terms of ideas that gained even an iota of traction. And here's the problem. And I think you probably remember this argument that Republicans were making when Obamacare was being voted into law. They weren't saying it necessarily out loud. It was more like whispering it in back rooms. This can't pass. If it passes, we'll never be able to repeal it. We'll never be able to get rid of this. And you're right. You can't just strip away the health insurance of 40 million Americans without a plan on how you're going to replace it. Can't do it. Not if you ever want to be voted into office again. It's one of the reasons that Marjorie Taylor Greene was running into problems with Donald Trump. Because the people that vote her into office in her district in Georgia, R's and D's alike, elephants and donkeys, they need health care coverage. And they may think it's too expensive. They may not like Obamacare. But in the absence of another option, they say, don't take away our health care. Don't take away our insurance coverage. And so what did she do? She stood up and said, no, we probably got to extend the subsidies, or we sure got to come up with a better option. Donald Trump even has said himself in the past, I mean, we're not going to repeal Obamacare without a better plan. Or I'm happy to overturn Obamacare when we come up with a better plan. And so what have you got? You got the President of the United States and Republicans circulating a proposal around the Capitol that would extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies for another 2 years. And you got some Republicans saying, no, let the subsidies, let them die. Like, just let them sunset. You did make a promise to Democrats that you would bring it to a vote in the Senate by the middle of December. We'll see if that promise is upheld or not. This is the problem. It's the problem for Republicans. You can't just point at an issue and go, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. You have to offer a viable alternative to that which is bad. And they haven't. Are they going to at some point? Because right now, their option is, just extend the subsidies. And for their part, Democrats are going, no, we don't want to just extend it for 2 years. We want to extend it with no changes forever.
From the Mississippi.
Wake up! Rise and shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Nice early morning surprise.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Maria, there was some blue and sorrow time. Just my thoughts about you bring back my peace of mind. Gypsy lady.
Good to be with you on this Wednesday morning, the 26th of November, alongside Lance Tolbert. I'm Richard Cross. MRC is presented by Community Bank. We're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. Glad to welcome our first guest this morning. Jamie Miller is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the Gulf Coast Business Council. A timely conversation. Jamie, good morning. Really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me.
So let's dive into this issue. The Gulf Coast Restoration Fund is a big pot of money that is, I guess, a lasting result of the BP settlement. And it can be used in a number of ways to help the Gulf Coast do business, build what it needs, all of those things. There is the advisory council made up from the Gulf Coast Business Council, if I'm understanding this correct, and at least part of the Gulf Coast Business Council's job is to advise on how that money could or should be spent. Is that an accurate starting point?
Well, let's start. That's a good place to start. So
Okay.
the business council does not serve as the advisory council. So the legislation that was passed in 2018 references the BP settlement, which is an economic damages settlement that the state of Mississippi had with BP. This settlement was not for environmental restoration. This was purely based on economic damages that the state incurred.
Okay.
So as a part of that legislation, it established a 7-member advisory board, 4 of which are appointed by 3 by the governor, 2 by the lieutenant governor, and 2 by the Speaker of the House. So that is the 7-member advisory board. I serve as chairman of that advisory board. I also serve as presidency of the Gulf Coast Business Council. Now, I will say the Business Council advocated for several years for the legislation and for projects that would bring real economic impact to the coast.
This $69 million, one-time allocation or recurring allocation?
So the way the settlement fund was established, it's a $750 million fund, got signed around 2015. It gets paid out in increments of $40 million a year to the state through 2033. So each year the state gets $40 million. $30 million of that is dedicated to the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund, which is spent in the lower 3 counties. The reason there's $69 million available for the legislature to appropriate this year is because they had not spent money in the 2 previous years. So this is more funding than is typically available in a single legislative session.
Why was that money not spent the last 2 years?
Well, I'll just call it politics. The way the session ended last year without a budget and all the things that kind of got caught up in that, the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund was also a part of that, so there was no funding spent from the fund.
I feel like you took the high road there when you said just call it politics. That's money that's allocated that's supposed to go to the coastal counties of Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson, and it did not get allocated. But we know there's a lot of money that didn't get allocated that is going to be spent this year as well. All right, so spinning it forward from there, the advisory council has been meeting. There's this big pot of money, $69 million, more than is normally allocated in a single year. And so the advisory council came up with a list of projects, community needs, and there was almost like an RFP, right? I mean, you had entities, businesses that could request money from this funding for certain projects, and there were 89, 90 of those that came in, those requests that came in. Is that accurate?
That's right. There's a cycle where the state opens up a web portal and applicants apply during the spring. Those projects get put together and then sent to the advisory board. We get to review those projects. We hosted 4 public meetings where we narrowed those projects and vetted projects in public discussions, and then eventually arrived at a ranking of 16 projects based on the availability of funds. And we provide our recommendations to the Mississippi Development Authority. So we don't send our recommendations are not directly to the legislature. Our recommendations get sent to the Mississippi Development Authority.
Just as a note, the recommendations from the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund Advisory Board split $62 million among the lower 6 counties. So that was $8 million to Pearl River, $2.5 million to Stone, $1 million to George, $7 million to Hancock, $28.7 million to Harrison County, and $14.8 million to Jackson County. Not to the counties themselves, but to projects within those counties. All right, I want to stop here and ask a question. Historically, with the distribution of these funds, has the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund Advisory Board kind of worked in step with MDA? Have you looked at these ideas in the same way in the past?
Well, the legislation says that we will work with MDA, and we do to some great extent. But remember, these are volunteers that have normal jobs throughout the year. We get together for just a few months out of the year to review these applications and then ultimately come to some decisions. We have MDA staff at our meetings, so they are somewhat helping us make sense of the applications. And ultimately, we want to be a resource for MDA. MDA has depth of resources and all sorts of things that the Volunteer Advisory Board does not have. But at the end of the day, we are on the ground, working on the coast, and have some quality, I think, advice that goes beyond just kind of looking at a spreadsheet and determining what projects may be good projects.
Yeah. Well, and I guess maybe my larger question there was, has MDA generally accepted the recommendations of the advisory board and passed those along to the legislature as their recommendations for how the money should be spent in a given year?
Well, not necessarily, I would say. Now, what MDA has done each year is they do take our recommendations and provide them as a part of their, or at least in the packet that they provide to the legislative leadership. Our recommendations are included in that packet. I just got their Bill Cork's letter yesterday. I think this year's letter and recommendations went further than they've had in the past in terms of describing, like, globally what the state would like to do in terms of what our region should look like in projects and programs. So I think this letter went in far greater depth, which I was happy to see, frankly. This is the type of leadership that I was hoping we would see this year. And so I was happy to read the letter this morning.
Well, that's what I was actually most interested to hear from you. And I hope if you've got time, we can continue this conversation on the other side of the break. We got a couple of minutes, but a letter from Bill Cork, Executive Director of the Mississippi Development Authority, that was sent. It's already been sent, though it's dated December 1st. I think that was their deadline for making a recommendation to the legislature, sent to the Lieutenant Governor's office, in which they talk about the recommendations made by the Advisory Council, spending that money across some 16 projects, and then putting $7 million aside in kind of a revolving loan account that entities can borrow from and then repay to keep that money going. And though the recommendations of MDA were pretty drastically different than the recommendations, and to your point just a second ago, they said these seem to be local projects as opposed to regional projects, and if the coast is going to grow economically, it's got to work together and get into kind of a regional mindset. Was that your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, that's, well, I will say, look, the projects that MDA did seem to recommend, 3 projects, one in Stone, Pearl River County, and George, were each projects that were recommended in our list of 16.
Sure.
They also talked more about a revolving loan fund and how that fund could be, organized. We heavily recommended a revolving loan fund. So I think what the advisory board lacks is kind of the depth and the details of what some of those things should look like. We ultimately just give a list to MDA with very little commentary other than kind of what our process was to arrive at our list. This is the first year that MDA spelled out in greater detail what they thought should be happening with the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund, which was, I've welcomed. The Business Council, my other hat that I wear, I've written extensively and had several meetings among our members about why that's important. In fact, the Business Council led to actually develop a strategic plan in 2019, which we published and commissioned as a result of stakeholder meetings.
Yeah. Jamie, we're up against a break. Can you hang with me for a little while longer?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to continue the conversation on the other side of the break. Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. We have talked a lot about, you have read a lot about on the SuperTalk.fm website, about the 3 coast counties, Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson, coming together to create a regional powerhouse. Is that going to happen? We'll ask that question and more on the other side of this break. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Will stand my ground, and I won't back down.
From the Seabrook.
This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Pumpkin pie and politics. They've got both sides of the table covered.
Have a good holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving from Richard and Lance. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
And I'm tired of taking blame when I've done nothing.
Yeah, what the big fancy voice that we all wish we had said. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, from Lance and from me and from all of us at Super Talk Mississippi, and to my guest, Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. We're talking about allocation of funds and projects and regional partnerships and all of the things that are business related on the coast. Jamie, I don't know, it's probably 6 or 8 months ago. I had a guest on, and I asked him to explain to me, as somebody who had been on the coast, the cultural differences between the 3 coast counties. And it really turned into a fascinating conversation because historically, Hancock and Harrison are not exactly the same, and Jackson County's not exactly the same. They've all got their unique characteristics. They've got their unique strengths, and it's a fascinating relationship that exists between the 3 Gulf Coast counties. And yet so many people, despite those cultural differences and at times rivalries maybe that have existed between the 3 counties, have pointed out if these 3 counties would work together, the potential is off the charts. My colleague Ricky Matthews has written about this a lot through some columns that he's published on SuperTalk.fm. How do we get there? Like, get to the finish line on a regional partnership like we've seen in East Mississippi with the Link Business Alliance, like what they've tried to kind of do in Central Mississippi, what they're working to do in North Mississippi as well. How do we get to the finish line on this?
Yeah, well, the coast geography is a bit unique in the sense that it's 3 counties, but they're lined up across one another. So you've got 12 municipalities, 3 counties, 1 coast, as we refer to it. And they do have distinct differences from Hancock County back over to Jackson County. Listen, the Business Council was formed after Katrina as a result of business and industry getting directly involved in the recovery of Katrina and had great results from that. And we continue to convene those regional leaders. We meet once a month with all largest business and industry leaders from Jackson, Hancock, and Harrison County. We just recently had a meeting at Stennis Space Center with the director of Stennis and other stakeholders there. This year, Governor announced just a few weeks ago, Mission 3, an organization dedicated to military and defense-related assets at our installations, which I think will be regionally all the way up to Forest and Lamar County. We also kicked off Startup Gulf Coast this year, which is a regional tech and entrepreneur program, which is a regional program. And we've led by putting together the first strategic plan for how the BP oil spill money would be spent. So I think the Business Council is leading in that regard regionally about how we're investing money and how we're focusing on assets that are important to the coast. Harrison County eclipsed Hinds County is the largest county in the state. Our population growth is greater than any other county. There's so many positive things to point to that the coast is doing.
Right.
Could we be doing more if we had some regional alliance? Possibly, but I don't think it's a requirement of having success. Our tourism, it continues to be the greatest tourism market in the state. There's just so many positive things to point to. So alignment can happen without an organizational structure. And if you put that structure in place, it basically would be the governing board would be represented by those 3 counties. And so, I don't know if their opinions would change about anything, but so I'm bullish on what the coast has done and what it continues to do in its growth. Whether we need a regional alliance in structure, I think we're going to have that discussion moving forward, but it certainly has not kept us from success, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. There's tons of success, but I think I'm left with the question of, are you thinking big enough? Are you dreaming big enough? One of the things that Bill Court kind of outlined in some specific industries, some specific markets, where he talked about, there are industries or projects, multi-billion-dollar projects that have wanted to come to the coast, but some of the infrastructure wasn't in need, or some specific things that to make that happen weren't in place. If coastal Mississippi, the Gulf Coast, is so attractive to some of these entities, and yet there are some key things that are missing, is that where the Gulf Coast Business Council's focus needs to be, to lay the groundwork for some of these projects to come in because of the population growth and the skilled labor and the natural resources that exist that make it so attractive?
Yeah, taking one example, I think our natural resources, although they're beautiful and attract tourists, they also have been a bit of a barrier when it comes to developing large industrial sites. I mean, you can't put hundreds of acres together on the Gulf Coast without there being a real wetlands environmental issue. Now, that may have been resolved with recent U.S.
Do you have to go to the 3 counties directly above and make it almost a 6-county thing as opposed to a 3-county thing if that's the direction you're talking?
Yeah, if we were going to have that conversation, I certainly would include the upper 3 counties. So much of the workforce comes from Pearl River, Stone, and George County to the coast.
Mm-hmm.
But when talking, I think MDA, and they've been on this for several years, is that I think what the governor realized earlier in his term that you got to have a product to sell. So when the large companies come, you got to have a product, which means land. And not just land, but land that's developed and site ready. And so he's been on a real, gotten a lot of momentum statewide for that. And I think the coast is doing the same thing. It's just traditionally been harder to develop large tracts of industrial sites. But to this point, we spent $500 million at the Port of Gulfport to develop that. That's a mega site. You've got Chevron and Ingalls, which could be considered both mega sites. You've got Stennis Air Space Center, which is a national asset, which has unique infrastructure unlike anything in the world. So probably as much as anything, we need to be focused on bringing additional, opportunities through those already proven industries. And we've got university system that's all also leveraging in on the blue economy. And so, I don't think it is about having a product and industrial sites, I think, to bring those large advanced manufacturers into. And I think we have work to do there. And it probably should include upper tier counties.
Yeah. One of the things that I've watched that's been interesting in North Mississippi, where Toyota came on board years ago, the landing Toyota was a big deal. But almost equally as big has been the suppliers that surround, kind of the ancillary businesses that feed Toyota to make it work at peak efficiency. What is that like with regard to Ingalls, to Bollinger, to Chevron? Are there ancillary businesses that either already exist or can be targeted to make those mega businesses that you were referencing a second ago continue to operate at the capacity or a growing capacity that they need to?
Yeah, certainly shipbuilding is kind of that business is ubiquitous, kind of within the workforce all through the suppliers, tangential suppliers, the first tier suppliers. And I think Ingalls, if you look at where they get products from, I think every state in the country. I mean, they're such a massive operation. They certainly have a huge influence within the region. Not just Jackson County and the coast. I think the same is true for Chevron and Stennis Space Center. The incredible commercial space flight that's happening there now with Rocket Lab and Relativity. What we need to work on there is getting those people that work at Stennis to live in Hancock County or Harrison County or in Mississippi. Housing's, there's a bunch of pieces to this formula that make it work. Yeah. Housing's one of them and affordability is one of them. So there's, you can attack this in several different ways. But there's no doubt the coast is prime for big development. Can we be doing better? I think you could probably say that about any region. And I think we've got the makeup and the leaders organized in a way that we will make the decisions to make sure the coast is successful.
Jamie, are you a college football fan?
Yes.
I've got this. My wife would probably tell me, "Hey, stop with the analogies." I'm wondering if the Mississippi Gulf Coast is Texas A&M, and here's what I mean by that. Like for forever, Texas A&M was a really good football program, and you looked at it, you're like, why are they not just as good as anybody in the country? Because they've got the facilities and they've got the resources and they've got the money and they've got the recruiting base and all of these things. And then finally, it seems like with this coach, Mike Elko, maybe they've gotten to that point where they've taken that next step. Is that a reasonable analogy?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, having the resources is a big part of it. And I think timing's another big part of it. I think when the business council and the regional leaders, not to include others than just our membership, get focused on how what direction we want to go in, we're generally we'll go in that direction. But that's not to say that we're not. We got our hands full now. We're having a lot of success, but I don't want to. We're not satisfied, if that's the point. I mean, we want to do more, grow more. But I think if you look at just population and employment and tourism, we seem to be doing pretty well. So could we do better? I'm sure we can, and I think we will. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to kind of point to the things that we have done well.
Yeah. Jamie, I appreciate your time. Just a fascinating conversation. I'm incredibly intrigued with the coast, the opportunities that lie ahead, the great things that are happening there right now, and it's a pleasure visiting with you. Wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too, Richard. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. We'll take a time out. We're back after this with you on Mornings with Richard Cross.
From the Mississippi. Bring up all the Mississippi news that matters, hot and fresh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
When it comes across and a good golly woman, that just scares the devil right out of me.
Glad to be with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. You can join us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. MRC is presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Had a good time yesterday afternoon for the kickoff of Holly Jolly Holidays at M-Trade Park, presented by Visit Oxford. Michael Borky and Brian Haydad and I were there for that. Oxford on Ice, the Walk of Lights, fire pits and s'mores kits, and additional concession stands, a new route with double the number of lights from a year ago. All of that happening at the 6th annual Holly Jolly Holidays celebration. For more information on that, want to take a day trip or a weekend trip to Oxford to hang out during the holiday season, go to the Visit Oxford website, visitoxfordms.com, or hollyyjollyoxford.holiday. hollyyjollyoxford.holiday. Those are the websites. Or you can follow them on Instagram at Visit Oxford MS. Probably the easiest way to do it. Lance, we've... over the months, we've talked to so many people from the Mississippi Gulf Coast, from coastal Mississippi, with so many perspectives. And I feel like everybody talks about the possible power behind a regional alliance. But we revert to things are going well, we're really doing a good job, and these three counties, while yes, they meet together, and yes, they have the council, and yes, it's a monthly meeting, they're not completely harnessing the power that they could have by working together. Is that kind of what you hear in these conversations also that we've had?
Yes, I think that the coast has definitely got a cultural identity of its own and an economic engine of its own. So it allows
and
for
each county within the coast.
So it allows for itself to kind of have, these regional, I would say affiliations, but yet at the same time an identity for each town and each county. So I know that that's a very difficult thing to juggle because, there's egos and everyone wants to be successful and probably have been on the coast in ways that maybe Mississippi as a whole hasn't been. So that one region is just really taken off. And maybe that's why they kind of have that mindset. Let's work together on some things, but yet we also need to continue having our local identities. And maybe that's it. But it's a wonderful place with a lot of great people we continue to interview, or you do, and have on this program. So, if I had a moment to take off anywhere in the state, I'd be running down to the coast right now. They've got a lot going on.
You know what, Lance? If I happen to strike it on the Powerball, what do we say that jackpot was up to? 600-something million. I'm gonna reach out to a coast real estate agent.
Oh yeah,
or maybe perhaps my my real estate agent here in Oxford. Let them make the connection and say, hey, I'm looking for about 10,000 acres of land in Stone County.
Oh yeah, gotta love Stone County.
Dead center of the coast, one county to the north, inland enough that you're not dealing with flooding. Yeah, you can deal with some effects from a hurricane, but you're not going to be dealing with flooding issues. And then get that site, those acres ready. Get that first project going. Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College right there in Stone County. Strategic partnership there.
And you got to partner up with the high school too. Stone County, they got the best mascot in the business, the Tomcats. So Stone Tomcats, yeah.
All right.
They just got put out, but they had a heck of a season.
Football was up this year on the coast. Would you agree with that? Ocean Springs, Gulfport had a really good year.
I think so many of the programs had great seasons. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, obviously there's the cream of the crop, but this was the first season I've seen a really rising tide of all of the teams down there. One or two, not so much, but had decent seasons. But as a whole, it was a really, really great year for the coast.
Now, I don't know that there's 10,000 acres of land, certainly not contiguous, that is for sale in Stone County.
You never
but
know.
I would start looking, and might be making some offers. That's assuming I had that $200 million in my pocket.
And you need the big money first, huh?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm going to find I appreciate my local bankers very much, and I appreciate the coast bankers. I don't know that anybody's going to loan me enough money to buy 10,000 acres of land.
Well, I mean, you are
very
gainfully employed, and so you never know. They bet on Richard Cross.
Gainfully employed, yes. Able to pay a note on a, $100 million loan?
Airbnb it, man.
I'm not that gainfully employed. Tents. Come pitch your tent on this land.
You're living like a Gaddafi, huh?
Oh. Not where I was going with that. Captain Criss Turnipseed, he's the Director of Public Affairs at MHP. He'll join us coming up next. A lot of people on the road today. Glad to have you along for the ride. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Delta to the coast. We're thankful for you, our SuperTalk family. Happy Thanksgiving. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
A lot of you on the road traveling over this Thanksgiving holiday. Wouldn't you like to do that in a brand new Expedition or F-150 from my friends at Belk Ford in Oxford? You may not have it yet, but for the next holiday you can. They've got a great selection available on the lot right now. New vehicles, previously owned vehicles, currently financing offers as good as 0% for 60 months on F-150s with a great selection on the lot. They've also got rebates still available with low interest rates on some of the other models, an incredible selection of used vehicles, and oh, by the way, Oxford Toyota right up the hill with some of the great Toyota models. And it's not just what they've got on the lot and available, it's the service that you get when you deal with Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota, a family that has been in the automobile business for well over 100 years. Check them out online, belkford.net, oxfordtoyota.com. or stop by and see them, Highway 6 West in Oxford. A man who knows all about all the folks that are on the road this holiday weekend, the busiest travel weekend of the year, Captain Criss Turnipseed. He is Director of Public Affairs Division with the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Captain, happy Thanksgiving. Good morning.
Good morning, Richard. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. They're here. This is the start of the busy season in Mississippi, especially for traveling. Here, start with Thanksgiving. But happy Thanksgiving to you and your listeners. Hope y'all are having a safe one today.
Thank you very much. We know that you got a lot of people on the road today. We'll have a lot of people on the road tomorrow. Going to have a ton of people on the road on Friday, whether it's traveling home from their Thanksgiving plans or perhaps on the road to Starkville from all parts of the state for the Egg Bowl. What are the things that you are encouraging people the most in order to make sure that they get where they're going safely?
Oh, well, first things first. It's free insurance every time you get in your car. Put on that seatbelt. There's the seatbelts that come in all cars, so that's probably the best way and the safest thing you can do is, of course, wear that seatbelt, obey those speed limits, put down those cell phones and any other distractions. And, of course, you're going to celebrate by partaking in alcohol or anything else. We ask that you please get a designated driver. Don't try to drive that on your own. And that's pretty much our common advice around all travel, but it applies doubly, I guess, during the holiday period because there'll be so much more traffic out there driving. Just pay attention to what you're doing and be mindful that there's other people out there on the road too. Be mindful of them, be considerate, and it's the holiday season. We have a lot to be thankful for. So just take the time to be considerate of others, and that would be the best chances, the best opportunities for everyone getting where they need to go safely.
In terms of the number of patrol cars, the number of officers that you're going to have on the road, in comparison to a normal weekend that's not a busy holiday travel weekend, how much bigger is your force that's on the highways this weekend?
Well, it's going to be probably the same size. It'll be more of we can't just create more troopers, but what we can do is the ones that are off, they do get to come back to work on the weekends. They've got some federal money that they get to work on their days off. So it's kind of a way to make our forces look like they're larger than they are. So the guys that were off get to come back on and work. So, we got half of the patrol will be working on any given weekend and half off. Well, that funding helps bring those half off back on. So it gives us the appearance or gives us the ability to operate as a larger agency because we've got guys working that would normally be off on the holiday. And that's just one of the things you sign up for when you come to work, in this line of work, public safety, first responder, holidays are your busiest time. So you come into this job expecting a lot of times having to work during those family holidays. So these guys and girls we got are ready to do that. That's what they signed up for, and they're going to go out there and do everything they can over this holiday period to make sure everyone gets to their destination safely.
Yeah. Opportunity to make a little extra in the pocket is not bad when you've got to work one of those holiday weekends. Captain Criss Turnipseed is
Christmas time for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. With Public Affairs Division with the Mississippi Highway Patrol. In terms of troopers, where are you right now, staffing wise? Are there openings? Are you running on a shortage? It feels like the forever answer to that question is yes, we need more, and yes, we've got openings, but we know that trooper schools happen a couple of times a year. Where is that right now in terms of recruitment and openings?
Well, we're always I've been doing this for 27 years, and I can say we've never been full. We've always had openings. We have openings every year. It's just the nature of what happens. You get guys that retire, and we usually have a good number of those each year that retire. We try to continue to fill those slots. It's one of those things where you try to keep what you have. Commissioner Tyndall has done a really good job at we've had patrol schools, schools every year since he's been here with us. So that's been very helpful in trying to keep our numbers where they are. It's enough to kind of manage, the guys that we lose to retirement. You got some that move on to other jobs and stuff. But the most thing that hits us is retirement. So we're not. We're nowhere near max capacity right now, but we do have. We have a force right now that's. We got plenty of guys and gals that are working with us, but not enough to really cover. Everywhere. That's why we have to have these callbacks to get enough manpower to cover everywhere. Ideally, we're always going to ask for more folks. So it's just a place where, you don't want to complain with what you got, but you could always use more because it's just time. There's more traffic, there's more responsibilities, and more things happening on roads now. And it's always a challenge to have the manpower to meet those needs.
Yeah. In terms of allocation of resources, when you get into a weekend like this, do you look and just say, okay, interstates first, we've got to start there, and then we go to state highways? Do you say, we've got to have a heavy presence with all roads leading to Starkville on Thursday night, Friday morning, because, we know that 60,000 people are converging on that area? How do you decide who goes where and where those resources get placed?
We just have the tradition. I mean, they're the traditional places year after year. I mean, every district, every county has the troopers there knows where their high traffic places are, where the most traffic is, and administration and staff throughout the weekends will set up different. We have different patrols that we do. We're really big on being seen out there. Presence, visibility is a huge deterrent to those that are out there and not driving the way they're supposed to. You see that trooper sitting on the side of the road or in the median. You tend to hit the brakes.
It doesn't matter how fast you're going. You always tap the brake every time.
That's the great thing about seeing that car sitting out there. And it's so effective. It might be a car sitting in the median. It might even be a trooper. It'd just be a car sitting there. Something looks out of place.
Yeah.
And you want to hit the brakes. Hey, that might be a patrolman sitting there. But we have those spots everywhere. It's just traditionally we know our high traffic areas, and management and their command staffs will appropriate peak travel times and make sure there's troopers sitting out there being seen, whether they're sitting or driving. And they'll call it line patrol. They'll drive from one point to one point, back and forth during peak travel times. And, these guys have been doing, these areas have been the same for years and years. And we know where the hot spots are. So, different strips of, highways, interstates, U.S. highways, they have designated runs. They just know the traffic's going to be, and that's where they'll be at those particular times, and they'll shift to other places throughout the day and kind of rotate through. It's just you try to get as much coverage, as much visibility everywhere. You talked about the Egg Bowl. I'm sure that'll be a day where you'll see troopers on main thoroughfares, anywhere that leads to the stadium, to those towns. So you're coming into Starkville, you're going to, no matter what route you may take, probably going to see a few more troopers out there. It's just, you kind of use a logic-based approach, where the traffic will be, then that's where the guys are sent to. That's how that works out.
Captain Criss Turnipseed, he is Director of the Public Affairs Division with the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Appreciate your time. Wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Last thing. We got like 10 seconds into the break. Trooper walks to a window. There's a radar detector on the dashboard. Automatic ticket, no questions asked?
Wasn't my day when I was out there doing it for sure.
If you're bad enough to get pulled over with that, then you deserve it, I suppose. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Yes, sir, Richard. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank y'all for the time.
And be safe to you and all of your colleagues that are on the roads across the state of Mississippi. Mississippi Highway Patrol. God bless all of you out on the roads, and thank you for what you do to keep our roads safe. Mornings with Richard Cross. We're back with you right after this.
From the...
That's one turkey? There's going to be a ton left over.
No, there won't. I promise I will finish that turkey.
I love turkeys. I do.
Happy Thanksgiving from Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Lock all the doors and drop off the keys. Truck's backed up now. It's time to leave. Hit the road and leave this place behind.
You missed it yesterday, a good conversation with our good friend Robert St. John. He has a recipe that he is sharing with you. Just go to the SuperTalk or the Mornings Cross Twitter feeds, X feeds. I just wish he had kept the name. Like, X is fine, but Twitter kind of rolled off the tongue. I guess it needed a rebrand. Anyway, we've got the turkey recipe that Robert St. John shared yesterday on the feed. You can just click on the link, and it will take you to Robert's website, robertstjohn.com. It's Robert's Christmas Turkey 2025, and he says the gravy is the best. Says it's the best gravy, period, and a lot of folks believe that. Did you hear about the story of the Virginia high school football coach whose team was 12-0, undefeated, and in the playoffs, and he went missing? It was, legit mystery. Like, where did this guy go? What's going on? Well, we've got a new layer to the story. A Virginia high school football coach who disappeared just days before his undefeated team's playoff game is being sought on charges of possessing child sexual abuse material and using a computer to solicit a minor. That's according to the Virginia State Police in a release yesterday. Travis Turner of Appalachia, Virginia, is wanted on warrants obtained for 5 counts each. Additional charges are pending. The coach has been missing since last Thursday when state police special agents from a Bureau of Criminal Investigation office were sent to his home, not to arrest him, but to question him as part of an investigation. As officers traveled, they were notified that he was gone. Drones, dogs, and rescue teams used to look for this coach. The AP left a message seeking comment at a phone number associated with Turner. You want to talk about doing your due diligence there? The Associated Press got what they thought was a phone number for this guy and called him up and left a message. Hey, just wanted to get a comment for you for the story if you'd call us back. You got drones, dogs, and search and rescue teams searching for this guy, and you're just going to, he'll just call you, give you a message. Good for you. Turner's a football coach at Union High School in Southwest Virginia's Wise County. 12 straight wins, undefeated, and just vamoose, disappeared. He was a quarterback at the high school before becoming a coach. He was part of the 1998 recruiting class at Virginia Tech that included Michael Vick in it. The division superintendent, Mike Goforth, told the AP in an email that the school is aware of charges filed against a staff member who has been on administrative leave and that the person isn't allowed to be on school property or have contact with students. Didn't disclose when or why that leave began, and said school officials would not comment further because it's an ongoing legal matter involving personnel. I have lots of questions, chief among them, Lance. Who tipped this guy off that the Popo was coming to talk to him?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Somebody on the inside.
It's got to be, doesn't it? You don't just... that'd be a heck of a coincidence.
Yeah, he had some mother's intuition or something, but I don't know. It seems to me like the obvious would be somebody told him.
Somebody said that dude is in Mexico by now. I think that's harder to pull off than... Like, Lance used to live in Mexico.
Yeah,
Lance is a guy that I feel like if he needed to disappear and get to Mexico could probably pull it off. If you just said, hey, Richard, you need to disappear, I feel like it'd be harder for... I'm fairly industrious. But I think it would be harder for me to do that.
Well, you're also a family man, and you're much more well-known than I am. I could slip between the cracks quickly, so.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying if I had to, for whatever reason. Yeah. This is very much a hypothetical. It's not an actual.
I just I go into storage and get my big sombrero that the family I live with gave me for a parting gift, and I just put it on and grab a bottle of tequila and one of those Clint Eastwood, poncho kind of rugs that they throw over. Be ready to go, man. I've got the hat and everything. So,
would you actually blend in Mexico dressed like that, or would you stand out?
Well, if I had a mule with me, I would blend in. But if I was just walking around without the mule packed down, I'm
assuming if you're dressed like that in Cancun, you probably stand out. But in
somebody probably give you a tip.
Old school Mexico,
they probably give you a tip, like come up and give you $20 or something.
Yeah. All right. This Russia-Ukraine story is fascinating. It appears to be making progress. Trump has said that he is now sending special envoy to see Putin, special envoy to see Ukraine, fine-tuning the plan. So Steve Witkoff is headed to meet with Vladimir Putin and perhaps Jared Kushner going along for the ride. And Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is set to meet with Ukrainian officials. Now, Trump suggested that he could eventually meet with the two presidents himself, but not until further progress has been made in negotiations. He was speaking to reporters last night on Air Force One and said resolving the war was difficult and described what had been a 28-point plan that was panned over the weekend by Congress. Trump said that was not a plan, it was a concept. That concept was leaked to Axios, and of course they published it, and then people got mad. They were like, oh, this is a wish list for Russia. And now the new thing that people are really mad about is this. And Lance, I need some help with this. So, Representative Don Bacon, a Republican from Nebraska, says that Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, quote, cannot be trusted, close quote, to lead negotiations between the administration, Russia, and Ukraine. On a post on X, he said this: for those who oppose the Russian invasion and want to see Ukraine prevail as a sovereign and democratic country, it is clear that Witkoff fully favors the Russians. He cannot be trusted to lead these negotiations. Would a Russian paid agent do less than he? He should be fired. Representative Bacon, Republican from Nebraska. Now, what in the world could cause that? Well, reportedly, Witkoff and others representing the United States went to Vladimir Putin or Vladimir Putin's people and are like, hey, this is how you need to approach the ceasefire negotiations. So that has set off this, the Trump administration is conspiring with the Russians. Witkoff can't be trusted. How dare he? What is the end goal? Because Bacon says that the end goal is a free and a sovereign and democratic Ukraine. You see, I think that's where Bacon and Trump are not necessarily aligned. I think Trump's end goal is to stop the war. A war that has been going for almost 4 years. And so, standing on his ivory tower in Lincoln, Nebraska, Don Bacon says, Steve Witkoff cannot be trusted. Fire him. And yet you look at the results of the last 10 months with the negotiations that have happened between this administration, generally led by Steve Witkoff, in conjunction with Marco Rubio, usually with Jared Kushner involved as well, they've gotten wars stopped. And so that's a really interesting take that Don Bacon from Nebraska, those who want to see Ukraine prevail as a sovereign and democratic country, Witkoff is on the Russians' team. You're missing the point, Don. The goal is to stop the war.
From the Seabrook Dock,
Mississippi. Pie and politics. They've got both sides of the table covered.
Have a good holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving from Richard and Lance. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross with you on this Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. I think we've all got a lot to be thankful for. We're glad to be with you. The show presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net, rooted in your community. Richard Cross, Lance Tolbert, and Lance, I know you were having some issues. We good to go now?
Think so, yeah. Hope so.
All right. Audri Johnson joins us now. Audri has been nominated for a Grammy Award this year. She's a Delta State alum, a graduate of that incredible audio engineering program. And first of all, Audri, congratulations. That would be a really cool thing to put on your desk or on the bookshelf, and what an honor to be nominated for a Grammy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So let's kind of talk about your experience as a singer-songwriter, as an audio engineer, your time at Delta State. But I guess first of all, growing up in Grenada and then choosing Delta State. I'm assuming there's a love for music. It may be something that you grew up with. How did the passion come? How did the love start?
Well, honestly, it started in church. My dad's a minister. He's been a minister all of my life. But he does music. Music runs on both sides of my family. So it all started in church, and I got to see my family make music. So it was kind of weird in a way. It's like I saw my dad and his brothers and uncles on the CD cover, and I was like, I only see famous people on stuff like this. So that's kind of what sparked it all. As far as me picking Delta State, what actually happened was I was a nursing major. Well, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
I was in band. I played trumpet. And my first time going to Delta State, I was in high school, and I was a part of the honors band. So I did that for 3 years. It was my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year. And that's where I learned to, love the energy around Delta State. And they started sending me mail, and that's when I, decided to go to Delta State as a nursing major. So that's how it all started. Yeah.
So when were you in school there?
And when was I in school?
Yeah, when were you in school at Delta State?
I did 2 years at Delta State, 2012 to 2014, and I left because of grades. Unfortunately, I lost a couple of scholarships, from stress. Nursing is hard.
Yeah.
So I left for a year, and I came back in 2015. And that's the year I met Mike Hargrove, and he was in the recording program there. So that's what made me go back. I wanted to do music. So, yeah.
The Performing Arts Center at Delta State is spectacular. I want to know a little bit more about that sound engineering and recording program there. But I'm curious about Grammy Museum, Mississippi. when you were a student there? Did you go? Did you get inspiration there? Did you spend much time around Grammy, Mississippi, right there in Cleveland?
Yes, actually, I got the chance to intern there. I don't quite remember what was going on, but I do know there were artists there, and I had to run the camera. So my friend and I, it was for a class, but it was cool too to be around artists like Travis Green was there, Bobby Rush. Who else was there?
Love me some Bobby Rush. Oh, what a character.
Yeah, I love Bobby Rush.
And what a talent.
PJ Morgan was there. So, just being able to interact with other artists is what drove me to be around. So,
one of the things that's always fascinating to me when I have the pleasure of talking with musicians or with writers, most musicians are kind of in a particular genre, right? So, you're a blues artist, or you're a country singer, or you're rock and roll, or whatever it is. And yet, whatever genre you kind of labeled in, most musicians have a love for all music. And they see the talent, and they see crossover with, like, stylistically and with sometimes the way notes are put together. Tell me about that for you, because your Grammy nomination is in the gospel category, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the other influences for you, though.
Of course, growing up in church, we weren't really allowed to listen to other music, but of course we did anyway. So I was inspired by a lot of hip hop, rap, R&B, country music. I didn't really get too much into blues until I went to the DMI, which is the Delta Music Institute, and that's where I learned about the blues. And I grew an appreciation for that type of music. So, of course, we had to do a senior project, and I chose to sample my vocals, like how with slavery, they would use songs to communicate to each other. So I would sample my vocals and make the beat or whatever and write a song. But it was gospel though. It was based in gospel.
Okay.
But I've dabbled and dabbled into all types of music. So just trying to, experiment with different sounds and, developing as an artist.
Tell me a little bit more about Delta Music Institute. I mean, if you pull it up online, like the first picture you see is this massive digital soundboard. And I think most people would look at that and be like, I'm not touching that. In terms of the technology, the facilities, the teaching staff, help us understand what's happening at the Delta Music Institute as part of Delta State.
So how I would describe it, it's kind of like a pub for anybody into entertainment. You have the business side of it, you have the entertainment side of it, so you have production, even videography. So, they have a record label called Final Records, which I was signed to before. So it's like you have three. I think they might have brought it down to two now, but when I was there, you had like three tracks. You had the entrepreneurship, which is what I got my degree in. You have the audio engineering track and the multimedia track. Initially, I was in the audio engineering track because I was already recording music before I went. I just wanted to get better at it. But I ended up switching over to business. I kind of wanted the best of both worlds so that I would know how to protect myself as a creator.
Yeah.
So, in that, it's this cool thing they would do. You have people who aren't musicians. You have people who are songwriters, and then you have people who are producers. So you would have these three classes, and they would group us up, and it's like, okay, you're responsible for creating a song. Like the producer has to find musicians. The songwriter has to write a song for the artist, and the artist comes in and they, sing the song. And that was a part of, a lot of projects that we had to do. So not only are you creating, but you're learning how to work with different people.
Yeah.
So, it was a cool thing to do.
Audri, I really appreciate your time this morning. We can leave it here. I'm curious how you view yourself now. Are you a singer? Are you a songwriter? Are you an audio engineer? Are you on track to being a manager or a producer? How do you view yourself within this music world?
As of right now, I view myself as an artist, but I'm definitely putting my hands into every aspect of it. When I worked with Temple, I was A&R, so I was finding artists or different producers to work on our team. Now I have a friend who's he's a Grammy Award-winning producer, and he worked on the project with Jay Ivy and Yolanda Adams, as a matter of fact. So now he's a 3-time Grammy-nominated producer as
That's
well.
Incredible.
So, just getting in wherever I fit in.
All of the above. I love it. And hey,
all of the above.
My friend Steve Azar, who's got, super ties to Grammy Museum Mississippi and the Delta Music Institute, he falls into that category. I mean, this is a guy that's had huge hit songs on the country charts, but he's producing and he writes and he sings and he plays and he travels and he's made a pretty good career out of it. So
I love Steve.
Isn't he great? He's great.
Yeah.
Audri, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on all your success, and wish you nothing but continued success, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Have a great day and a great weekend. We'll take a time out. We're back with you. We will wrap things up on the other side of this timeout. Mornings of Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Serving up all the Mississippi news that matters, hot and fresh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, preacher man talking on TV, cutting down my rock and roll. He wants me to send a donation, says he's worried about my soul. Now Jesus walked on the water, Lord, you know I believe that's true. But sometimes I think Jimmy Swagger, no gonna do a little walking too. I ain't asking nobody for nothing.
One last time on this Wednesday morning, Thanksgiving Eve. Good time for us to say thanks to you for being part of the Mornings with Richard Cross family, for being part of the Super Talk family, for listening, for interacting, for connecting on the C Spire text line, for your thoughts, for your feedback, for your encouragement, all of those things we are incredibly thankful for, and we say thank you for that as well. Lance, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Oh, you as well. I know you got some cooking to do, so good luck with all that. I hope it all comes out exactly as you want. Nice and juicy and cooked.
That's right. Don't want dry turkey. My to-do list today is pretty significant. The rain followed by the cold with the wind today and the leaves that I blew, which I knew this was going to happen, but 2 days ago. Start over on that. So it's going to be great, though. Going to be great. Looking forward to family and friends being here, and looking forward to an Egg Bowl on Friday. And then a quick trip to Stillwater, Oklahoma on Friday afternoon and evening, and then coming back home.
I hope you don't have a trains, planes, and automobiles type of trip, you know?
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
I've already watched it about 5
times. I will say I've got
times.
options.
Yeah.
So one of those is go west, young man. It's I-40 is one of those options, so we'll see how it goes.
You driving or flying?
To be determined.
Oh, okay.
I was telling Borky and Haydad a couple of days ago, I have a flight out of GTR, I have a flight out of Memphis, and I have an option to drive. So
there you go.
If I can make the GTR flight, that certainly would be the easiest travel after the Egg Bowl. And if I can't make that, I'll try to make the Memphis flight. And if I can't make that, I'll just keep rolling west.
Well, you get to train or And then also you could take a lift with a trucker, if you need to. So if you got to get home.
If anybody happens to be leaving Starkville, maybe Bryan Field or GTR on a plane that has an extra seat that is headed for, I'm not picky. I mean, Stillwater, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, any of those options, I would be more than happy to ride with you. I'll bring snacks.
Well, I mean, you got to bring snacks, yeah.
Yeah, like snacks to share with. Like, I'll bring snacks for you. There are lots of ways to get in touch with me. Feel free. Shameless pandering.
Mornings Cross on X is a good spot. Yeah,
that's a good spot.
Yeah, you need to find him.
You can email me, Richard@supertalk.fm. I am more than happy to catch a ride if you would like to. Fly out of the one that's taking off from the parking lot.
Yeah, that's the one I like using. The one we have parked out front. You just have to drive down here to get in it.
Oh, Thomas. CC says, Happy Thanksgiving, guys. And he says, God bless you all and go Rebs. Nathan gives us a nice message as well. Says we hope we have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving. Hope the Thanksgiving get-together family reunion goes great. Many times are had. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Somebody said caught the tail end of the last interview. Who was that? It was Audri Johnson. She grew up in Grenada, went to school at Delta State, was in the nursing program, switched over to the music program, and she's now a Grammy nominee.
I think that was a good move.
Yeah, I would say so. Reminder that tomorrow will be a best of show, and on Friday morning you will get Sports Talk Mississippi in the morning from 6 until 9. Michael Borky, Brian Haydad will be in this slot. I don't know if they'll let me make a cameo appearance or not. Might do that from the road on the way to Starkville.
If you want to get up early, you go right ahead, huh?
Well, I mean, the game kicks off at 11, and I'm 2 hours away, so it's going to be kind of an early start anyway.
I'll be up early. It just is something in the clock, You do this long enough, it's like, I'm going to be up, so.
Yeah, body clock's kind of set that way. Don't forget, if you've got land need, David Fisher Land Company would love the opportunity to earn your business. Their website is davidfisherland.com. If you go to that website, you're going to see some listings that they've got, and you're like, man, I need that. Man, I want that. Maybe it's an investment opportunity. Maybe it's a hunting property. Maybe it's somewhere to just build a cabin and have a place to get away. They can help you. Happy Thanksgiving to David, to Travis, and to Jack. They've been great partners here. We are thrilled to have them as part of the SuperTalk Mississippi team, and we hope that you will check out their website, davidfisherland.com, davidfisherland.com. Thanks for all the messages. We appreciate that very much on the C Spire text line. Happy Thanksgiving to you, to your family. Please travel safe. Please file away the precious moments that you get with family and friends, and hope you eat well, too. For Lance, I'm Richard from all of our SuperTalk Mississippi family. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you Monday morning right here on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
For doing a lot, but I do my best work when the weather's hot. I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.